It's real. We're here.
None
of us are queer, but one of us is a bear.
A bear?
A bear.
Not a bear.
A bear. Here he is. Here is Ted, come to save the world. Well, at least he was here. Where's Ted gone?
It's already muted.
Very good. All right, you know the drill, don't you, staff? Those of you that come in late, you're on dusters with Master Chief Burgess afterwards, overseen by Ted, wherever he's got to. He's probably down there twiddling the knobs. Good boy, Ted. Good boy. If you want questions answered, put a big capital Q with a colon and then write your question and then suffix the whole thing with a question mark. That makes it easy for Ted, who's basically illiterate, to find the questions and pass them on to Her Majesty Pym, Queen of Pirates, the unpoped mother of puppies, she who must be obeyed at all times on all matters, and whatever other titles she might have this week. The feral grandma's in the house, been active early on, that's good to see. Shah's here, excellent.
But Mark was first.
Well, Mark should be first too. That's Lieutenant General Mark of the Meat Militia. Where's the Master Chief? Second. Was he?
Yep.
Goodness, that's poor Master Chief. Perhaps you should do dusters afterwards with all the latecomers.
Maybe he's not completely healed yet. So.
No, from his operational Purple Heart-winning tree-hacking extravaganza that he had.
Oh, poor Snooze. Only one dog bed today.
Master Chief 1.
Come then.
Foliage 0.
Come here.
Oh, Professor Fluffy wants in on the program as well.
Ooh.
All right. How's the week been? What you been up to? What are you doing next week?
I don't know.
Right, good. It's one of those weeks.
Yeah, it really is one of those weeks.
Yeah.
Where we've been looking at things.
And stuffs.
Are you sharing that?
Well, you can. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a great story.
It's a great story.
Needs more emphasis on the dragons, though.
Yes. We've been looking at houses and talking to banks and such things. Very exciting things.
Yes. So maybe we're moving up in the world. Who knows?
Maybe.
At some point.
Yeah, we shall see.
Yes. Right. We're big.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, do we want questions now?
Yes, we want questions now.
Did you mention
I'm filling in time until
Q?
questions roll in. Sorry, what?
Did you inform everyone about the capital Q?
I did. Were you not listening?
No, I wasn't. I was reading.
Yep, fair play.
And
I did.
Was catching a dog.
Yes, I also am about to suggest to them that a very cool thing to do would be to go and join Pym's Cerule organisation.
If you want to be cool.
Yes, that's what all the cool kids are doing. Join her Cerule organisation in one of any of the capacities that you can, retail customer, preferred retail customer, or IBO business member in your own right, and buy stuff. That'd be cool. Yep. There are also any number of other fine Cerule distributors in my organisation appended to this community in some way or another. Maybe if you don't like either of us for some reason, go and get it from them.
If you hate me, don't sign up with me.
That's right. Yeah.
Is the link in your doings?
It is, I think. And if it's not, it will be. I believe it is in the top few lines, actually. Yeah.
What's it called? The description?
Yeah, the show notes under the video.
That's what
yes.
it's called.
Good, right.
Yes.
So that's promotions done.
Yeah.
What's next?
What's next? If I'm slow today, it's because I haven't slept very well.
Yes.
But I could go sleep now, I think. That's where I'm at.
You could do a snoozy.
Yeah.
Then who would
I don't know.
keep the show rolling?
Coffee has to read the questions. I'm not sure that's going to go so well.
Right, we should really crack on. It's enough. We've been fucking around for minutes.
Yeah,
right.
we have been fucking around too much. So
Yes.
let's do it. How do you know when your gut is healed and how long does it generally take on a carnivore diet?
Oh, excellent. Yes, how long's a piece of string? Your mileage will vary, depends on the place you've come from, and that will depend on how long it takes you to get to the place where you probably ought to be. And really, how do you know when it's all good? Is when you are asymptomatic of any kind of gut dysbiosis, problem, issue, function, all of that stuff. I would suggest to a person, any given person on average, that you might expect a full transition from one kind of diet to another kind of diet to take 6 to 12 months. That's quite a process for your body to go through. So don't rush it. Do it slowly, do it progressively. Don't change your diet suddenly overnight. Do that over 6 to 8 weeks. And then expect as many months thereafter, probably, until everything is back online and working the way it should. Isn't that right, Ted? Ted's online at the moment, doing what he should. Good boy, Ted.
How is he doing with the camouflage training?
I don't know. Have you seen Ted today?
I have. He's a failure.
Oh.
Have you seen Snooze?
I have. She's a failure. Snooze you were seen at the camouflage training.
You need to paint your pores.
You need to blend better. Yeah. Yes. Dear, oh dear. The other one's much better. You can't see Fluffy right now, can you?
No.
Right, anyway, Ted, you were twiddling knobs.
Fluffy's really good at the camouflage training at dusk, though.
Yes.
She completely disappears.
Do we really have that few questions from people today?
No, we're getting to them.
Right.
Also, apparently we are funny. I don't feel very funny right now. I feel really boring.
You're not boring, love.
I feel boring. I feel like I'm snoozing already.
Right. Well, let's keep the vibe of the show rolling.
How much will circadian mismatch affect your health?
Oh, look, it can be huge, depending. Again, it's one of those, how long's a piece of strings, your mileage will vary. Your mileage will vary. Yes. I'm always getting my turds wangled up, me. I mean, I was, in trouble not that long ago. A few years back.
Look at, what are they called? Teenagers.
Yes.
They can do whatever they want and you won't notice. And then all of a sudden when they hit 25, 30, they're fucked.
Yes, indeed.
So that's the, I think there is a degree of, what shall we call it?
I don't know.
A buffer zone. When you're young, you can cope with a lot more things. And when you're a little bit older, like those two old people here that can't fucking sleep properly at night and such, then
I slept fine.
Yeah,
last night, personally.
I heard that.
Now I know you're making shit up.
You've been snoring a lot.
No, I was dreaming I was a motorcycle.
Right, we got a super chat.
Yeah, we love the super chats.
So shall we read it?
Yes, go on then.
You take on the pseudoscience called Satiety per calorie that says non-dairy chemical concoction ice cream is healthier than real foods like avocados or minced meat.
Yeah, look, this whole thing is being pushed by a bloke called Dr. Ian Field or something like that. He's a bloke that seems to have taken over the Diet Doctor brand from the original guy who's now no longer associated with that brand at all and has a new brand. Look, anyone that wants to caveat or pin any dietary advice on the basis of calories, right then and there is disqualified from doing so. They do not understand basic physics, let alone the laws of thermodynamics, let alone human metabolism, health, or anything else, and they can be dismissed as a crackpot. And this Enfield, I have seen what he's been saying on that platform formerly known as Twitter, and Ted wasn't impressed, were you, Ted? Ted?
His ear's sticking up and it's very visible. I still see his eyes. They're red, demon red. Okay. He's gone.
Ted, you were not seen at the camouflage training. Good lad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's rubbish. In short, answer to your question is absolute crackpottery, rubbish, pseudoscience, nonsense, and can be dismissed immediately as such. Yeah. Good.
Yes.
Thank you for the 10 Australian dollars. Oh, speaking of Australia, don't forget, on the 23rd of November in sunny, beautiful Adelaide, South Australia, there's a one-day event called the Carnivore Collective Live, where a number of social media influencers of some standing and some ill repute will be there to say things to you and stuff. And you can be there. And all you need to do is book a ticket to be there. Carnivore Collective Live.
Very good.
Dr. Chafee will be there. So will Bella. Dave Mack will be there. It's going to be a great event. Awesome.
Good. Have fun.
Yes.
I shall sit here and not be there. Okay, so question.
Yep.
Jack Kruse says, food is an electromagnetic barcode of where the sun is in relation to the earth and the moon. Your latitude plus environment. So not a good idea to eat beef from New Zealand for an American.
I don't buy it. I don't buy half of what Jack Kruse says. I do buy the other half. I have a lot of respect for Jack. We've had several really good collaborations between he and I. He's a great character. He has his way of doing things and presenting himself, as do I, in case you hadn't noticed, just for a bit of fun. Yeah. Much of what Jack says is robust and good and based on actual physics, and some of it is not.
Close your mouth, you stink.
Like Jack says, light is more important than food in terms of health. I don't agree. That's his catchphrase, though. That's how he kind of gets you through the door. Cool. Yeah, Jack, good bloke. We should get Jack on again soon, hopefully, if he's amenable. I might drop Jack a line and say, Jack, come on my channel and say stuff about light and things and physics and stuff. It'll be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the damage done to the body by moderate cardio training?
Well, if moderate is defined in the correct way and the actual volume and intensity we're talking about are such that it's not hugely problematic, then that's your answer. And it's a little bit individual, depending on individual needs for fitness requirements for your activities of daily living / adventure and sports and all that kind of carry on. Absolutely, I'm able to consult with folks about training intensities, volumes, and things. It is one of my areas of specialization. I have worked with and do work with several high-profile athletes to this day, in fact. So, yeah. I can be engaged for such services if you like. The link for that is that bit.ly link that you will also find in the show notes, where you can also buy merchandise and stuff if you want, including Cerule. There's a link there for Cerule as well.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Here's a question about Cerule.
Yes.
Is consumption of Cerule stem enhanced safe for metastatic cancer patients?
There is no indication available that it is not. Neither is there a robust, even proposed mechanism by which it is not. It seems that some metastatic material is capable of recruiting stem cells to the dark side and recruiting them to its own cause by way of helping to vascularize tumorous tissue. However, there is also good evidence that having a sufficient supply of adult stem cells is such that their anti-cancer activities swamp any activities by the metastatic tissue in order to recruit stem cells for vascularization stuffs. So if you've got enough stem cells attacking the cancer, doesn't matter how quickly it's trying to revascularize itself, it gets killed off anyway. That's the theory. There's no hard science on that either way. If I was diagnosed tomorrow with metastatic cancer, I would not stop taking Stem Enhance. I wouldn't dream of it, actually. That's my personal take on it. But if you're looking for hard science on that, I'm sorry. There's actually very little hard science on any topic regarding human health in existence. That's my whole point online. That's what I'm trying to get across. The fact that I have to act the larrikin to get people to listen is just the price I pay for that. What's next?
We have some super chats.
We love super chats.
Question, is the 1 gram protein per pound of ideal body weight before or after cooking?
That would be before, and that's not actually a number that I subscribe to myself or put forward. I say around about 2 grams per kilo. Now, those numbers aren't hugely different, but they are a little bit different. I usually go with 1.75 absolute minimum up to maybe 2.75 for highly active athletic-y types. But on average, maybe about 2. And that's 2 grams of protein before being cooked per lean kilo of body mass, or if you don't know what that is, you can just work it out using an ideal BMI calculation, whereby you'd take your height in meters, multiply that by itself, and then multiply that by 22.5, and that will give you the number in kilos that you should weigh, give or take, with some error.
I have a question.
You have a question?
Do you eat that much protein yourself?
I would struggle to get that much in, I would suggest. There is also an age and stage thing. I reckon I'd meet 1.75.
Do you?
Some days I'd meet 2.
Some days.
I wouldn't usually get much more than 2 myself, but I'm also not as active as I was as a younger man.
I definitely don't get that much.
I
do not think.
Do you not? You might be right.
No.
Maybe we should force feed you.
If I'm lucky, I'll probably get 100 grams. That's if I'm lucky. I probably more like 80, maybe 90 most days.
We should look at that.
Then I had to do a lot of eggs in my coffee. That's
Eggs
my
and
solution.
steak and eggs. That's what we'll put in your coffee. Delicious.
Don't put steak in my fucking coffee. Oof.
What do you think, Snoozy?
She will have it. She'll have fucking anything. So yeah, I've said fuck 2 times in less than a minute.
Right, so now you all have to super chat, otherwise we won't get paid again.
We got lots of super chats here.
Yes. Oh, that's good. Maybe they like it when you say
DW
fuck.
has super chatted 4 times.
Excellent. So. We love you, DW.
Yes, but before that we have one from the Swallow Man.
Yes.
Stem Enhance, been on it going on 4 months.
Excellent.
Seem to be regaining some energy lately. Any anecdotal info on how long one realizes the full benefits? Also, what's your favorite Python skit besides Swallow? Thank you.
Right. That's excellent. Good choice on the Stem Enhance. It really is magics. That's not a therapeutic claim. Yes, energy coming back is one of the things that anecdotally does occur. Possibly around an improvement, I'm guessing, in mitochondrial function associated with the replacement of cells, with the new ones sort of carry on. I usually say to people that they should not even assess the effect or that which is coincident with the taking of our product for 6 months of daily consumption, at least. Thereafter, there will be a massive improvement, we find, in a person's outlook on their life in general. And then after that, the continued gains over time seem to be more slower. Like, you reach that threshold and then it's more, but it's still upwards. I feel younger every year, personally. I'm 106,
You feel younger, but your walking skills.
Well, yeah, but that's down to the injury. I have permanently disabled one of my legs by tearing the Achilles tendon off the calcaneus.
And you're walking like a duck.
Yes. Well, if it waddles like a duck and it sings steak and eggs.
You're a witch.
Yes. I also float and am made of wood. Look, it's hard to pick a favourite Python skit. It really is, because there were so many good ones. I like the cheese shop sketch a lot. The cheese shop. I'm also a particular fan of the albatross sketch.
I thought you were going to say the parrots.
Oh yes, the parrot sketch. There you go. See, it's hard to pick one. The parrot sketch. You've got to have the parrot sketch. The Norwegian blue, lovely plumage. That one. That's a classic for all time. Yes.
Right.
Like it. Good.
Right, let's find more super chats.
Yes.
Ask Bart, what do carnivorous barbecues and Bill Gates have in common? Answer, assault on meat.
Haha, I see what you did there. Hilarious. Very good.
Yes, I don't know how I would ask that without him actually reading it, so I'm sorry. Well, I could have not put it up, but he can still see it. Okay, another one. Pim, has Bart asked you, what do you call a group of carnivores flying through the sky? A meat eater shower. Jesus.
That's almost as good as the Star Wars joke that I posted a meme of on my face pages yesterday, which was a picture of the younger version of Obi-Wan asking the question as to why it was that the movies were released 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. And then under that, the answer is coming from Yoda saying, "In charge of scheduling, I was."
I just have to put this in between because it's kind of relevant to one of them. I made a video on why I consume 350 grams of protein. Not up yet. It will blow people's minds.
Minds blown.
So yes, Jonathan, I think I need that. Funny story when I was interviewing Jonathan very recently. I asked, how the fuck do you eat that much protein? And he didn't understand the question and thought I was attacking his blood sugar or something. I'm literally wondering how people eat that much protein.
Literally,
physically.
The capacity to physically eat that much food is what she can't get her head around.
Yeah.
Not that
he knows that
now,
but it's funny how a question that in my mind is like, how the heck do you actually physically eat that? Gets translated to something that floats around on the internet. It's so dangerous to eat so much protein, which is not a problem for me because I can't eat that much protein. Anyhow, next super chat.
Yes.
89-year-old dad with Parkinson's, very weak, considering carnivore, been taking Senna every day for 5 years for constipation. Any advice on how to handle Senna during transition?
Well, like anything that you're transitioning, you're transitioning from however much Senna is going in daily to none by reducing it in a sensible amount progressively over a number of weeks, such that you either ramp or curvilinear ramp down to none, but take a few weeks at least in doing so. And obviously that would need to be in concert with said 89-year-old dad and those around him who are responsible for ensuring his best interests, which may or may not include you. Probably should, if dad means your dad. But all families are different, aren't they? Mine's very different. Jesus, I had to catch up with mine, as you probably know, in the last few weeks. I had to go to a family funeral and see a lot of folks from a part of the family that I don't see a lot of these days, and some of them I haven't seen in a while. And some of them haven't changed, except got 30 years older. And, you know, some of them have turned from 10-year-old boys into 44-year-old men.
Oh, you're so silly.
How does that happen? I don't know. Crazy. Nuts. And
you look away once and shit happens.
Exactly. You just look away for 30 years and suddenly, you know. Anyway. Yes.
Jonathan. I didn't have a clue for him. Funny looking. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny how defensive you got.
Communication is one of those things, isn't it? I
was like, what the hell?
Good to see you. Dr. Abs is in the house.
Yes, and super chatting.
Nice.
Do you think hypoxia training to incorporate FOX03 can have a place in a healthy way as part of training planning? My patients report a big improvement in sport.
Right, okay. So, good to see you, Abs. Abs is a bloke that I've had a little bit to do with on the periphery. I've seen a video that he put out recently regarding the true etiology of cardiovascular disease, and I'm very impressed. Abs stood in ably for me in the live stream that Stephen Thomas did last week when I was unable to attend.
I saw it. Very good. Go watch it.
Yeah. Go and watch that whole thing, the 24-hour thing, indeed, including Abs standing in very ably for yours truly, this bad, bald man. Right, so there's 2 points here. One is improvement in performance, and the other is the required commensurate health status issues. A lot of people in their minds conflate being physically fit and prepared for physically demanding activities such as sport or whatever as health and wellness. No. Someone who is extremely physically fit is a person whose body has been repeatedly subjected to a mild form of injury, and the response is in the body repairing itself slightly better than it was before in order to better cope with that same insult again on another occasion. And while there is clear benefit in terms of physical output capacity, the ability to do a certain physically demanding activity, that doesn't mean you're healthy or better off necessarily. And the gene expression that you're talking about there, ABS, is one that we know is upregulated by hypoxia, and as such the body will then respond by making itself just that more better at dealing with hypoxia next time. Thus there will be a performance output in the sport, absolutely, but in terms of the long-term health implications of that over a lifetime, different discussion. Perhaps one you and I can have when you and I do a collaborative video in the next few weeks, hopefully, when you book it in on my calendar, ABS, and we say, right, let's do this. And we can talk about physiology of rest and exercise, cardiovascular pathophysiology, human nutrition, statistical inference, calculations, research design, that kind of stuff. That's kind of my field. Any of those topics would be awesome. Let's do it. Who would like to see that? If you'd like to see myself and Dr. Abs do stuff and things in a video, comment now. Make sure you put $10 on your comment.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Say no more. Right, good.
Right, more super chats. We got PLNs. Yay!
Yeah,
PLNs.
we like PLNs. We forget what they are, but we love them.
Does slow cooking beef meat crockpot destroy key nutrients but make others more accessible, collagen, to our body, or should we only grill fry beef instead?
I don't buy for a second that even well done, even slow cooked, even, all of that stewing for hours and hours and stuff at relatively high temperatures, I do not believe that destroys nutrients in meat to a level that is meaningful in terms of the health outcomes of eating that meat. I don't believe that for a second. Why? Because I ate nothing but well done meat for probably about 9 years, 9.5 maybe. Sure, with some off-piste bag of chips here, a piece of pizza there, some dirty beer and other forms of alcohol and stuff like that I was doing at the time. But mostly across time, for many years, I wasn't eating any amount of meat that was not fully cooked through, and I didn't get any nutrient deficiencies. So,
Are you sure?
I also, when I was younger, tripped over and hit my head on a record player, but I'm all right now. I'm all right now.
That's not funny.
Right. It is. It's hilarious every time.
It's not funny.
Again, comment under here and tell the Queen that she's mistaken in this respect, and that was absolutely fucking hilarious. Yeah. Good.
Well, that chat isn't fucking moving, so I won't see it anyway.
Right.
Next one.
Good.
Thoughts on histamine intolerance on carnivore. Does aged or ground beef really have high histamine, and is DAO effective for histamine issues? Thanks.
Okay, both parts of that question are very individual in terms of your mileage based on your genome and the environment in which that genome is placed by you at any given time and across time. Yes, histamines do build up in meat as it ages to some degree, from meat to meat, situation to situation, and a person's response to that histamine is individual, plus or minus, not just with respect to another person, but with respect to yourself across time, because it's variable, if that makes sense. And yes, DAO can be effective in helping with symptomology in that regard, but it doesn't always work either. There you go. That's a fully politician's answer, isn't it?
Yes, and people do want to see you and Dr. Abs, and they want to see you and Paul Mason. Someone wants to see you and Paul Mason anyhow.
Right.
And I shall skip these kind of comments that think that it's actually funny, because they're wrong.
There you go. You're wrong. The Queen said so.
More super chats.
Good. We love those.
We're not going to have time to get to the other questions.
Well, that's good. That's great.
Are coming in.
That's awesome.
Comment.
Yeah.
Thanks for your answer. Much appreciated. For me, the MP skip that takes the cake is the argument clinic. This is an argument. Yes, it is. No, it isn't. Thanks again.
That's a good one too. Yes.
That one is frustrating as fuck.
Mm-hmm. Good.
And one more. I've heard you're against cardio. As I get older, I'm feeling more out of breath climbing a few flights of stairs. What do you think of the 4x4 Norwegian workout to improve cardiovascular strength?
What I am against is the kind of exercise training that is typically referred to as cardio. What I'm talking about being against is exercise of a whole body nature, usually involving large muscle groups, invariably, utilizing rhythmic, repeated contractions of that musculature at a moderate intensity, such as to produce locomotion of the form of jogging, rowing, cycling, those kind of activities, at an intensity that you could keep going for an hour or an hour and a half or more in some cases. The sort of middle range on a 3-intensity spectrum, where they say low intensity, moderate intensity, and high intensity exercise, and they have heart rate cutoffs dependent on your age. What I'm saying is stay out of the middle zone. You can do as much high intensity exercise as you can tolerate and is effective for improving your ability to output high intensity activity. That will take care of the middle zone cardio stuff, because it's not a different energy system that's utilized. It's the same gearbox. Okay. And you can do as much very low intensity stuff, walking for hours, as you like. That's not a problem. It's the stuff in the middle that's not good in my estimation. So I hope that's clear. So any program that involves high intensity burst and repeat activity for a relatively short period, say 30 to 45 minutes maximum in a session, and that happens no more than 4 times a week with adequate recovery time in between, that's fitness taken care of. General fitness, ability to navigate the universe, all of that. Good.
Then we get more super chats.
Yes, we like it.
Is carnivore an option to help heal left ventricular systolic dysfunction with left ventricular ejection fraction of 25%?
Okay. It very much depends on the exact cause of the compromised ejection fraction and ventricular musculature function. Carnivore is, in my understanding of human physiology, anatomy, the anthropological past of human beings, our genetic structures, our organ systems, all of that all points to the hypercarnivore diet being the one that's best conduced to optimal health and longevity, it seems. So in that respect, it may assist in the body's natural healing process by not getting in the way, as many other diets can. However, I would absolutely suggest that a person with any compromised function of any of their organ systems is absolutely and definitely a candidate for Cerule products, which can which does release adult stem cells in a much higher number than otherwise would occur naturally, and that those adult stem cells are capable of replacing any damaged cells in your body, including those in your heart, with new ones, if your body deems that to be the thing it should do. And it probably would, because your body would understand and prioritize fixing the heart up if there's a problem with that. So that's not a therapeutic claim of any kind. That's me saying, well, this stuff does release adult stem cells. We can show the peer-reviewed evidence that supports that. And we do know that adult stem cells do differentiate into new cells of the body in any kind, except sperm or eggs. Probably a good thing. You should take the stuff. Yes. And if you want it cheaper or for free, we have programs for those things. You just need to let us know.
Yes.
Excellent. What's next?
I'm just going to throw this in there here because it's a follow-up, kind of. Is the middle zone cardio stuff bad because people do it for too long, or is it just bad no matter how long you do it?
It's bad for a number of reasons. Number one, it causes a tendency to have smaller musculature as opposed to larger musculature. Now, obviously, there is such a thing as too small and too large as regards vasculature. We're not talking about those extremes. We're talking about the middle standard deviation, I guess, of people, in which case, if you do a lot of cardio, you're likely to have less muscle mass than if you did a lot of high-intensity stuff, and that's bad. Secondly, over years and years and years and years of doing cardio training, we'll call it, the middle zone stuff that goes on for, hours and hours a week, those people seem to be represented more highly in a group of people who express heart disease of the kind that's caused by the heart muscle itself becoming too hypertrophied and thus interfering with its own function. And also people that do a lot of that kind of training tend to abuse their bodies with tons and tons over years of carbohydrates. And we all know how bad that is in terms of one's health prospects. The only thing that middle zone cardio training is good for is providing you with a capacity to do more of that. Now, if you're someone that's involved in a sport that requires that, I would say to you, if you want to stay in that sport, then you need to do some of that kind of training, sure. But I would also suggest to you that being in that sport is not a good idea. That is not how humans are physiologically designed. You are asking your body to perform and do things that it's not designed to do. It is a cumulative stress over a lifetime, and I don't think it's a good idea. So, there it is. Happy to debate it with any exercise physiologist that wants to with me, by the way. None of them have so far. Yes.
Super chat.
Super chat, super chat. No fucking singing.
Yes. Please do something with Dr. Abs. You two are the best people in the entire field. I'd pay to see you both live stream together too.
Good. How much would you pay? Because we also have to pay Ted for his appearance fee if he actually does turn up on the show at any point today.
Mm-hmm. People have seen him. They've said so. So he can just give it up.
Yes, go and twiddle knobs. Good boy.
Another super chat. I wanted to know how people are able to get six-pack and lose fat and gain muscle while still including a lot of carbs in diet.
Yeah.
They do a lot of cardio maybe. Thanks for all you do, Bart and Pim.
Yes, again, it's individual genetic differences interacting with the very different environments in which any given gene set can be placed at any given time and across time. I would suggest that people who eat a lot of carbs and have low body fat, that would indicate a combination of genes that allow that and an exercise program that allows that. Stop the exercise and those people will surely get fat too at some point, I would suggest.
I suspect that they are also fairly low fat.
And low fat diets, you mean? Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, the people that do have six packs, eat a lot of carbs, probably don't eat a lot of fat.
Yes, and you're very welcome for all we do. Thank you for the $9.99 US.
$9.99. All right, I'm trying to find my way back to...
Finding my way back to questions. No singing.
Yes.
Soon we'll have huge tracts of land, hopefully, though.
Right.
We can build castles.
And no fucking singing in the tower.
No fucking singing.
Thoughts on daily multivitamins such as one a day? I've heard some say the pills are rocks that can't even be digested and do nothing for you.
Are we talking about that guy that can't spell his name without a number again? Is that what we're talking about? Multivitamins...
Everything's rock.
Yes. Multivitamins are only of any use if, A, you are deficient in any of the things that the multivitamin contains, B, the multivitamin is well balanced so that it doesn't throw itself out of whack and cause you a problem that way. And C, that the stuff that you need that's in those things is actually absorbable in the form that they've dished it up to you in that bottle. Really? Luckily, on a carnivore diet, there's nothing nutritionally missing. You will get everything you need eating a carnivore diet in terms of nutrition requirements. So if you want to take a multivitamin every day, fill your boots up. I wouldn't personally, because I don't think it would necessarily be of any assistance and might cause a problem, depending. Good.
Yes. Next one.
Yes.
Any biohack for post-myocardial infarction recovery?
Cerule, and more cerule, a fully carnivorous diet, and develop a deafness to everything said to you by the allopathic medicinal community and pharmacological community about anything to do with heart disease in any way, shape or form. In fact, stop consulting with those people. Unless, of course, you are acutely unwell and require immediate medical attention, in which case fine. Otherwise, those guys don't know anything about preventative medicine. Not a damn thing. There you go. There's your full answer.
What kind of tea is that, Pim?
Simply tea-lightful, it says. Fuck me, really? Could you not have come up with something better than that? Simply tea-lightful.
Simply delightful.
Yes.
It is chai.
Good. Good. Chai tea.
That's what it is. Can you... God, can you explain how water skin retention works and the influence of salt intake? What should we do to lose water weight?
Water skin retention?
I'm assuming water retention in the skin.
Well, water,
just guessing.
you can absorb water through the skin. Let's say you're in a bath or in a swimming pool or other body of water. You can absolutely absorb water through your skin if your body decides it wants to do that. If you just mean how does water retention work in the body, there are multiple pathways by which water is retained or excreted in human physiology. There's the renin-aldosterone system. There's alterations directly in the filtration rate at the glomerular apparatus, or apparati, I should say. Various electrolytes can have an impingement upon salts and things. If you want to lose water weight, what, do you have edema of some kind or whatever? I found the best way to throw water weight off
Dry fasting.
dry fasting's one way, and if you're not wanting to go that far, another way is to find some way of reducing your chronic systemic inflammatory overburden, which tends to lead immediately to throwing off a bunch of water. I have found that there are 5 really good ways to work against chronic systemic inflammation. That's
All right.
There are 5. There you go. And there is a video on my channel referring to those 5 health hacks, which you should view if you haven't already, and you should apply all 5 to your life. Yeah.
Very good.
Lovely. Hello, Ryan.
Yes.
Good to see you.
I don't think that's what they meant, but also if you want to absorb water through your skin, then dry fasting is a really good way of doing it, because your body will adjust and get water from everywhere it can after a little bit.
Yes.
Hi guys, can I eat American cheese with my burger patties in a high quantity without the sodium citrate affecting my health? Thank you.
Well, again, that's individual. It depends on your capacity to deal with such things in your diet that ought not to be there. I guess a better question would be, why on God's green earth would you want to do that? American cheese? It's the furthest thing from cheese I think I've ever seen.
I don't really know what's in American cheese.
Plastic?
Yeah.
It's that orangey rubbery.
Yeah, but I don't know what the ingredients are.
Anything but fucking cheese.
Right. I think I've had enough dog for now.
Oh, poor dog.
Yeah.
Ejected. You're an outside no house motherfucker.
Sit a bit differently.
And yes, Eddie Murphy is where that comes from.
Right. Do either of you have opinions on genetic methylation tests? And I also wanted to know if Professor Bart has any advice for picking up babes like Pim. Love you guys and have a great stream.
Right. Well, let's do the second bit first. I am absolutely the last person in the world who should be coaching anybody on how to pull.
Yes, agreed.
If it's ordained at a higher level that we have what we have. And we've tested it. Destruction tested it to see if it holds. It seems to so far. She hasn't shot me through the head yet.
Went through the most rigorous quality control tests ever.
Yes, indeed. So no, I've got no idea how to pull at all. Love you too, and there's nothing you can do about it. Right. Opinions on genetic methylation tests, plus minus. Because the thing is, a genetic test can identify a genetic propensity or structure. It cannot predict how that gene will react in any given different environment in which you may place it at any given time or across time. Still, genes are funny like that. They're interactive with the universe. They are not a set of instructions that are followed to the letter. They are if-then.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's obviously very much depending on what you're eating, but not just what you're eating. It's like, are you in a toxic environment? Are you stressed? Are you thinking a lot of negative thoughts? There's so many things that could affect that. So even if you could maybe see what's methylated and not, just try to be healthy, and you don't have to look at that shit. Honestly. What's up with my throat today? It's like I got frogs and frogs.
Maybe.
Except for Ted's bucket.
Maybe they're from Ted's bucket. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he visited you late last night and you didn't know.
Maybe the tea is making me
Do you
foggy.
have any dreamy remembrance? Hello, I was there last night, so
No,
I was.
he was not. I know he wasn't because I was fucking awake. Right, why do many cholesterol metabolism genes turn up in Mendelian randomization studies and not genes related to insulin metabolism, I guess? Metabolic.
Well, the reason for that is because the whole idea of the Mendelian study is to act as a confirmation bias apparent support for an idea that they've already decided is correct, despite not having any evidence that that is so. So they're not looking for other genes. They're looking for the ones connected to the thing that they believe is the problem. It's nuts. It's not science. It's theology. It's propaganda. It's cleverly disguised propaganda that even some scientists are so lacking in science training as to actually believe and suck that lollipop. Rubbish.
Rubbish.
Rubbish. It's rubbish, staff.
Right.
Yes.
Why do you think people like Peter Attia blab on about ApoB so much? It's just a modified LDL particle, also a dependent variable. Can't work out why it's touted as being a risk factor for cardiovascular disease.
Peter Attia is a trained allopathic physician whose training would have instructed him that cholesterol is causal in heart disease, despite the fact that there is no evidence that is so. And therefore, they will then start honing down. They've worked out that cholesterol is no correlate to heart disease at all, of any value. They've worked out that neither is LDL. So now they're going to say, well, it's the particular protein of the LDL. It's the ApoB. That's the problem, they're going to say now, because that correlates better to the outcome. Nonetheless, we are still looking at correlates to, things that associate with. We are not looking at evidence linking cause and effect through mechanism. And why does Peter Attia continue to do what he does? That's why. And for no other reason. Well, ego, perhaps. Definitely there's an ego problem there. He's one of the most incredible reductionists I've ever come across, as Attia.
Yeah, couldn't it also be that, you know, when you are researching a specific topic, you get so engrossed in that it's hard to actually see other things as, you know, being the cause or not cause, or taking a lot of other factors into consideration when you are making those deductions, because you spent, I don't even know how many years he's spent looking at that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
many.
So, like, guys that are focused in on such an academic career, as I once was myself in 3 different fields because I changed, but a lot of academics will start in a field and they'll stay there their whole careers, and basically they become more and more focused in on more and more reductionist nonsense, all of which is actually just confirmation bias to backfill their belief structure. This causes that. LDL is in some way associated with heart disease because we say so. Now we need to try and backfill that with some kind of substance because we can't do an experiment on people. Ethics committees don't like that. They hate it. They say no. I don't understand it myself because there are some people that, well, it's medical experiments for the lot of you, my loves. I'm sorry. I've thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's medical experiments for the lot of you. I like that one too, by the way. Swallow.
We got a super chat.
Super chat. We love the super chat.
It's not up here just yet.
It might be slightly slower.
Okay, so the super chat. Jean writes music. Hi guys, good as always to listen to you. She says.
Good to see you too, Jean, and I'm glad to hear that you still have 10
Can't put
fingers
you on
and
the
toes.
screen right now, but we shall get to that.
Yes.
There wasn't a question, so I could read it.
Good.
Is HIIT training worthwhile for health if your high-intensity intervals take your heart rate over 170 despite the low-intense intervals keeping your heart rate between 120 and 165?
Okay. How old are you, Scott? I would need to know that to know what we're talking about in terms of those zones specifically. However, I would prefer to see a person do higher intensity for a shorter period of time. Pretty much universally at any level of whatever they are already doing, pretty much people tend to overtrain in terms of volume and underdo it in terms of the intensity that they're putting out at the time. It's an absolute classic thing.
Very, very interesting. So it shows here, but not there.
It'll come
all.
up or it won't.
Yeah, but this one came up after.
Yeah, I don't know. What if?
Maybe $2 isn't enough for it to come up on this screen. No
Rude.
clue.
We love you anyway, Jean.
Yes.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
I have a comment. If your low intense intervals are 120 to 165, they're probably not even low enough.
Well, 120, too low.
Yeah, 120, sure. 165 is
too
not
high.
low.
No, that's too high, probably, depending on your age. Okay, good.
So for me, it's really hard to do that sort of thing. I have to, if I'm doing sprinting, I need to walk because my max heart rate is so low that I have a very short interval to get it down. So I need to really go super low intensity up to max intensity. I couldn't do jogging because I would be at 165 versus 180 or whatever. Anywho, blah. Have we had this one? No.
Nope.
There's a whole fucking bunch missing here then, because we had that one ages ago.
Yeah.
Where has it gone?
Maybe it's because you're at the bottom of the window now.
Yeah, but we read this one 10 minutes ago, and there's nothing in between, and then this one.
All right.
I don't get it. Something going on with the chat here, guys.
They don't like us.
Yeah, so, okay, we're very far behind in the chat, but if your question is not getting read, it's because the chat has decided to not show us any freaking thing.
We have 2 windows open on the other screen. One is the YouTube feed where all the comments are coming through, but that's not the ones that we can put up on the screen here. The ones that we can put up on the screen there are sent through from the YouTube feed to the software I'm using to do that, and they're not coming through at the moment.
Very, very strange.
However, we will continue. We will soldier on. That's what we do here in the Meat Militia. We overcome very bad ideas with much, much better ones, don't we?
There's something there that I can't see. There must be that one. Or some. No clue. No clue what is happening. Anyhow, let's read this one. Good. Some carnivore docs recommend short sprinting workouts for health benefits and claim that it will lead to greater losses in visceral fat than losses of subcutaneous fat. Any thoughts?
I agree that kind of exercise is indicated and a good idea, yes. Yeah. Absolutely. To suggest that it's a possibility for a person to selectively strip fat from their body or regionally strip fat from their body, that's where we would diverge in terms of opinion. No, you can't do that. That is a genetically physiologically programmed series of events. Your body will take fat from storage from zones it deems is the most appropriate at that time according to its ineffable plan.
Can I add something there?
Of course you can.
Because I don't quite agree with you.
Well, you better not then, because that's hate speech. Hate speech.
Whereas that is true in the moment, you do get a better hormonal response, and visceral fat has a lot to do with your hormones. So if your hormones are out of whack, you're more likely to have a lot of visceral fat. So if you do HIIT training, you are correcting that and getting a better hormonal response.
Okay, that's possible. Sure.
So I do believe that is true.
All right.
Yes. Okay.
Good.
So let's see.
Ah!
We're just going to read questions. Where will we find them
There are
now?
many questions.
Yeah, there are.
Many questions. Good.
Morning, Pim and Professor. I'm enjoying my first delivery of STEM Enhanced Ultra. Is it best to take with food or without?
There are instructions on the bottle which say for most of them take without food and for others take with food. I find that it makes no real meaningful difference. I take them when I take them personally, and I think that's okay. Or you can follow the instructions on the bottle if you want to.
Yeah, I really don't think it matters. It's just the plasma flow. Probably you want to take it a little bit away from food just because of the nature of the supplement. But for the others, if you don't feel sick eating pills without food, it's not going to be a problem.
Mm. Yes.
Super chat with no comment, no questions.
Thank you very much
anything.
for the Australian dollars, $14.99.
But someone says, I would pay to see Saladino debate Bart K.
He won't do it. He won't even acknowledge my existence. He pretends he doesn't know who I am, despite the fact that he and I have done several videos together in the past. So either his memory is failing him because of all the damage to his brain due to his toxic diet and lifestyle, or, well, you make your own conclusions. Yes.
He doesn't want to talk to you.
No, he doesn't.
That's what it is.
No, he doesn't.
What are the histological features of atherosclerotic plaques? Fibrous tissues, LDL.
Yes, I've seen several studies, and I've also seen several examples in the real world of arteries with advanced scleroses on both living and formerly living persons as well. I've seen the studies that look at the histology and give us a proportionate what's in these plaques, in the walls of these vessels. What is it? It's 95-point-something% scar tissue. It's less than 0.1% lipids, lipoprotein carriers, and anything else. So these, cholesterol-rich plaques don't exist. It's a fantasy. There's no such animal as that. They're actually made of scar tissue almost completely.
Very nice.
Yep.
Dr. Thomas E. Levi says that humans can produce vitamin C. The studies look pretty weak, but may have some truth on it and connect with vitamin C on carnivore diet.
Okay. The gene involved in the production of vitamin C in the metabolic tree of life is entirely deleted in human beings. So where Dr. Thomas E. Levy gets that idea from, I have no idea. If there is some secondary subterfuge pathway by which it can occur, perhaps. I'm not saying there isn't. If there is, I'm not aware of it. Human beings and guinea pigs are both entirely incapable of producing vitamin C using the usual pathway because it's knocked out in both those species.
Good. I know you don't recommend canned sardines. What about marinated Eastern European style sardines?
Depends on what the marinade is. Fresh. Call it that day sardines.
Brilliant.
Go for it. Anything canned, not so good. Especially in oil, even worse. Marinade plus or minus, case by case, depending on what that marinade is.
Yeah.
They might contain
There's nothing wrong with the
non-Christian
sardines.
things, mightn't it?
Yeah.
We don't want to eat anything non-Christian, do we?
Apparently not. What's the evidence reasoning against eating organ meat? Any evidence that ancestors didn't eat organs? Why would copper on organs be bad?
Well, the copper in too large of a dose is bad. We know that. There is a toxicity to overdoses of copper, and you will get overdoses of copper if you eat a lot of liver, in particular. I don't suggest liver is a good idea in large amounts, or is something that's a superfood or something that we should prioritise above muscle meat. We shouldn't. We should eat liver, if we're going to at all, in about the proportion that livers exist with respect to edible other muscle meats and things, which is not very much, personally. Any evidence that our ancestors didn't eat organs? Well, not mine, personally. I wasn't acquainted with them. My ancestors of any distance away from me died well before I was born. I wasn't able to ask them or know. But we can look at examples of some of the most recently westernized cultures that were not really in contact with Western culture until. You might look at the Inuit as one of those examples. However, the Inuit are a special case because of where they live geographically as well. So it's a tough one to prove. But in general, you'll find that Inuit, when they make a kill, will tend to rip all the entrails out and feed it straight to the dogs. They eat the blubber and muscle meat. And they don't eat the organs. Traditional Inuit. At least the ones I've heard about and read about and seen documentaries on. I have a cat that used to eat a lot of mesas. She didn't eat the livers. She would actually surgically remove the liver and eat the rest of the animal. Interesting. Not that we're cats. I'm not a cat. Yes.
So we have a super chat.
Good.
And
more pull-ins.
Someone says that we probably missed his second super chat because of the chat being...
Sorry about that. Technology.
So I asked, what was the question? How do you relate a carnivore diet to ketosis? One is a proper diet for us, the other a metabolic state, no carbs plus fasting. However, a carnivore diet alone does not necessarily cause ketosis.
Correct. Absolutely. The reason for that is because a sensibly planned, executed hypercarnivore diet will be too high in protein for you to be in a large degree of ketosis ongoingly, precisely because the proteins are gluconeogenic and indeed insulinogenic directly.
I think maybe
ketosis is the whole idea of calling it a ketogenic diet and imagining for some reason that the goal is ketosis and to have ketones. No, doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. That's a sales thing. That's not an actual sensible metabolic diet.
Can't scroll. I think maybe this one.
Yes.
In regards to the left ventricular systolic dysfunction, the Cerule product to look at is Stem Enhance Ultra. Any others?
Yes, I always suggest that people who are interested in Cerule products should get a wellness pack which contains the three main Cerule products, which are all synergistic. There is, as you have correctly identified, the Stem Enhance itself. That is the stem cell release agent. That's the baseline. That's our flagship. Everybody in the world should take this product. However, what most people don't understand is that they should also take this product as well, which is called Cyactive. That is an anti-inflammatory, a powerful anti-inflammatory which doesn't have the side effects that you'll find in pharmacological solutions. And we know that inflammation is really problematic, so let's deal with that. And finally, we have Plasma Flow, which is an enzyme preparation designed to clear the microvasculature from fibrin deposits which occur when you become inflamed. Ergo, it allows the stem cells and other formed elements to get to where they need to go to do their thing. So that's all highly synergistic, that little package. And you can buy them in a thing called a wellness pack, which is a repeating monthly order on your credit card that just happens every month. And you'll get about 18% discount doing it that way, as opposed to just buying those things when you go and log and decide to buy them. Also, you won't forget it because it's a set and forget thing, so that's a good idea. So that's how to get about 18 to 20% discount on your Cerule products. If you want even more discount than that, let's say you want free Cerule products. In that case, you'll need to let one of us fine Cerule IBOs around this community know that you want to know about how to do that. And they'll tell you. It's easy.
It's easy.
It's easy. I haven't paid for a Cerule product myself out of my own pocket for 5 years. Before that, I bought them for 10 years retail. What a nonce. We love your retail customers. We do love you, but you're spending money that's more than you possibly need to. Please do keep being a retail customer if you don't want to do what we do to get your product for free. Absolutely. But, you know, those that think, well, hang on a minute, perhaps drop us a note. We'll upgrade you. We'll help you upgrade yourself. Good.
Right. What nutrients, vitamins, minerals are needed to improve the production of stomach acid HCl?
Salt, sodium chloride.
For the chloride part, you could do potassium chloride or magnesium chloride.
You could. Yes. Vitamins, not so much. Minerals, not so much. It's chloride ions is what you need. So that's the base ingredient. And you need your stomach environment to be functional and geared around producing the acid that it should, which is a physiological thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
This didn't get a big cue, but there seems to be some confusion here. Why is it that the immune system doesn't recognize the stem cells as invaders and destroy them? Right,
let me clear this up. This bottle here, Stem Enhance Ultra, contains exactly no stem cells, not one, because they would be invaded.
Enhance.
Yeah. What this does is enhance your body's ability to release your stem cells with your DNA from the bone marrow to the blood, whereupon they do magics. They turn into other cells as needed and stuff. It's great. No stem cells in the bottle. Yeah. Good. Thank you for the question.
Yes. What do you make of Crackpot McDougall, and where does the name Howling at the Moon Dougal come from?
Right, so that's where it comes from is an interview he gave a few years ago where it was clear that his dementia and cognitive decline had got to a point that it was embarrassing, much like other prominent persons these days. And during this interview, he was going, ooh, at one point.
Why did he do that?
I can't remember the context, but he was like, ooh, something or other. Somebody was talking about something he didn't like.
Being a werewolf or something.
I don't know. Anyway, so yes, we called him Crackpot because he was a priest of the Church of Anorexia Vegana, and it became barking, howling at the moon Crackpot when we saw that a few years ago.
Crackpot.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Can BPC 157 be used for heart health, i.e. stimulating new heart cells?
Not for stimulating new heart cells, as far as I'm aware, no. It's a peptide involved in healing of injuries. It's a peptide involved in optimizing gut function, enteric function that is, and it also seems to have an effect on soft tissue wound healing. The only way I'm aware of to stimulate new cells in the body is to find some kind of adult stem cell release agent. Luckily, it's been done for you. It's here. It's also under the show notes in the link, the bit.ly link. You can go there if you want to buy it. There's a link off from there. Or you can go straight to Pim's Cerule URL, which is also in the top line or two underneath in the show notes.
You might get a medal for playing golf.
You might. A golf medal from the Cerule Olympics. That'll be awesome.
I didn't get an archery medal.
No.
Didn't work out.
No. But we want the golf, don't we?
Yes, very much.
Go and join Pim's Cerule business as a retail customer and buy something. Anything. Yep.
Preferably something that is going to be useful for you.
Like a wellness pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Jonathan.
If autism is generally a negative selection set of characteristics, how might someone pharmacologically alter themselves to improve reduced symptomology?
So the assumption is that the autism is a negative thing. Not sure. Perhaps some behaviours might be negative in terms of getting on with others from time to time. I find that with my autism.
No shit.
You're here to help, are you?
Yeah.
Good. How might you pharmacologically alter yourselves? Well, there are many ways that you can alter the way that you interact with the universe or that you perceive the universe. Both recreational drugs and pharmacological drugs are available for this purpose. Their efficacy, plus or minus, depends on which one we're talking about. Diet-wise, I believe that I have been able to manage myself vastly better on a carnivore diet or close to carnivore than a diet that was less close to carnivore, shall we say. I think Cerule products generally help too because of the less inflammation, so I'm kind of more at ease with the universe, myself in general and everything. Less ornery, perhaps. Maybe. Don't know. Until people ask silly questions or show disrespect that's not warranted.
Yeah, but from an outside perspective, like me, I can absolutely tell the difference when you are more or less carnivore, but especially if you're drinking alcohol or eating a lot of crap, you're getting insufferable. Or, shall we say, very irritable, short of fuse, not liking things, getting more anxious, all the things.
Yeah. All the things.
All the things.
Good.
Not all necessarily because of the autism, but I would like to say something about what you started with. Like, I don't think autism is a negative set of selections. It's more maybe a nuisance for you and maybe for people around you if it's a problem for you. But I think it's the society that we live in that isn't set up for that type of neurological wiring, which might have been very useful many, many years ago.
Kid says, fuck him. Fuck him!
So, yeah, I mean, if it's a problem for you, absolutely. Try to change it, but if it isn't, fucking own it, in my opinion. Anywho, that's my opinion. More protein questions. As a rough guide, how many grams of protein should you eat in one meal to get a good enough dose of insulin?
It depends very much person by person, situation by situation, genes, environment, that whole thing again. As a rough guide, I find that around 1.75 to 2 grams of protein in one meal hits 95% of people's buttons and gets it done. Just as a rough guide. The exact same amount as I suggest is a good daily amount, funnily enough, in one meal, which is where it ought to be. If you can. There are some people that cannot do one meal a day for various reasons. I get that. You're not excluded from the club. Who are you waving to?
I'm saying me. I can't do one meal a day.
Yeah, right. So Pim's one of those that...
I mean, I can't even eat 2 grams per kilo eating 2 meals or more per day.
Right. Good.
So how would I do that in one meal? I would puke.
Oh, good day, Rachel. Good day.
Click. Is this diet pro-indicated? Raw egg milkshake in the morning, lard and butter for lunch, evening raw blood soup or raw steak?
Well, there's 3 meals there. I would advocate for one.
What's in the milkshake?
Yeah, what's in the milkshake? Other than lard and butter, what are you having? Are you just sitting down to a plate of fat for lunch? And in the evening, raw soup or raw steak? Well, again, I'd probably cook it at least some, but that's just a personal preference thing. And depends on how much of all of those things you're having as to whether it's a good idea or not. Context. We need more context. Yes. We love context here, don't we?
But eating just lard and butter for lunch seems a bit yucky.
I wouldn't do that.
How much can you stomach? Okay, I have been carnivore since January and I'm getting my physical next week. What blood work labs are most important to tell my doctor to order?
Well, it depends. Do you have any signs or symptoms of any kind of health concern of any kind whatsoever at all? No, in which case you don't need any bloods at all. Not one. None. Good. What's the next question?
I don't know. I'm trying to find where we were.
All right.
As it froze.
Not a fan of getting bloods done for the sake of getting bloods done. The reason to take bloods is to confirm or refute a possible diagnosis of a pathology of some kind.
Right. Are varicose veins a consequence of high pressure or other causes?
There are many theories on that one too. And chronic systemic hypotension is one of the things that has been implicated as a possibility or at least contributor. Copper status is another one that's been implicated. I'm sure there are others too. Collagen.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Good.
Just thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
What to do? I had a consultation with my MD. I showed him your video. He said, this man knows nothing. He's simply a YouTuber selling supplements that has no education. I said, he's wrong, but he laughed.
What I would do is fire that physician. Not because of what he said about me, because that's not the point. The point is, he's claiming that a person of my education, training, publication record as a scientist, publicly available record of such, I am clearly someone who absolutely does know exactly what he's talking about. What your doctor is saying is, this man's opinion is at odds with mine, ergo he is wrong because I'm the doctor. In which case you need to fire that person. That's my opinion. You can do what you like. There's no skin off my nose either way.
Do you believe different school of thoughts within carnivore have more merit than others? A friend of mine follows Chaffee's, another Goatis school of thought, another Tufano's. What do I tell them?
Yes, there are absolutely persons to whom you should entrust your attention. There are people who do warrant being listened to, and there are those who absolutely do not. Examples of people who are good to listen to: Chaffee, Berry, myself, Sean Baker for the most part, Sarah Pugh.
Pew pew, you mean?
Mm-hmm. Pew pew! Motherfuckers.
Sorry, Sarah.
No, she's not. Who others are good? Good folks, good sources.
I don't know.
Many other. There are many that are good, and there are many that are just simply absolutely not worth a second of your time, and you absolutely should not listen to. Geriatric is one you absolutely should not listen to. Not at all.
I think you should just do whatever fucking works for you. Even if you don't like some of these people or whatever, the thing is that diet is still going to be 1 billion times better than the standard American diet. So if it works for you, you like it, why don't you just do it?
Tufano is another one you absolutely should not listen to at all. Saladino, you should not listen to. Anyone that espouses Ray Pete, you should not listen to. Stephanie Person, you should not listen to, for example. I could name people you should not listen to all day. The ones that you should listen to are fewer and further between. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Super chat.
Yeah.
What do you think of Jack Kruse saying that eating carnivore isn't as needed in lower latitudes?
That's one of the things I don't agree with Jack Kruse on. Love you, Jack. There's nothing you can do about it. But you're wrong on that. Maybe there is a differential in terms of its importance. There's actually no numbers there, but I don't buy it.
Oh, I've lost the chat.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yes, that's where I was.
Good.
Any adjustments on a carnivore diet for someone with chronic adrenal fatigue?
Yeah. That's a consultancy issue. We need to sit down and talk it through, get the full history, because it'll be an individual program in that case.
Very good.
Yeah.
If red blood cells living longer from low carb, A1C 6, but total carbs less than 10 per day, isn't glycation still an issue? Larger glycated cells causes damage to smaller blood vessels like eyes. True?
Do you mean glycation transfers from tissue to tissue? No, I don't think so.
No, it doesn't.
No. So I think that answers your question. No.
If that was the question, I didn't
I
quite
believe that was
understand
the
it.
question. Yeah.
Okay.
No, not true. I would suggest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thoughts on injectable NAD plus and peptides other than BPC 157? There's new stuff coming out.
I'm on the fence until I've read that stuff. I'm aware it's happening, I just haven't read it yet. Maybe we could do a collaborative, Jonathan, at some point. We can go through a study or two and analyse them live, which we'll pre-record, so it won't be live.
Mm. Do you think there's a danger in eating charred meat?
If you do too much of it too often, perhaps, maybe, but there's no hard scientific evidence that it is a risk. Because risk is a cause and effect statement, and no experimental work exists to support the notion. It's a theology.
Right.
4Qs?
Yes.
4Qs? 4Q2!
Theoretically thinking,
Yep.
eating leaner proteins and lower fat would equal fat loss, knowing that fats and carbs are used as energy, so lowering fats shouldn't it?
What you're forgetting there is that your body will respond to a change in your diet hormonally in such a way as to maintain the ideal body mass that it thinks you should have at that time based on what you're feeding it. It's the interaction between what you eat and what your body does with that is the determinant of that. I hope that's clear.
Mm.
Hello, Snoozy. Yes, you're the good one. Yes, you're the good one.
Okay, for the Cerule products, I see 4 of them. Stem Enhance Ultra, Plasma Flow, Sciactive, and Sciactive Joint.
Yes.
Is there a right one and then ignore the others? If so, which one should I get?
A person might substitute Sciactive Joint for Sciactive if they are a rheumatic sufferer, joint issue sufferer, whatever. Or indeed you can take Sciactive Joint on top of Sciactive if you want to. I say for the most part, for most people at most times, the 3 core products are the blue, the green, and the red labels. Yes. How's that?
Yes, I can't scroll the chat, so I click the next question.
Okay.
What would be best for recovering from HIIT athletics like boxing, but for someone 40 plus and not in their athletic prime? What steps to take to make sure recovery is quicker and safer?
Number 1, you don't necessarily want your recovery to be quicker, because it takes as long as it takes. What you want is your recovery to be full before you hit yourself again with your next training. Because again, people tend to overdo their training volume, believing that to be a good idea. No, it isn't. You should exercise 4 times a week and no more, for no more than 45 minutes at a time for the entire session time, which in higher intensity athletics means probably your actual activity time is less than 10 minutes, with active recovery in between bouts of high intensity burst type activity. You should also follow all 5 health hacks on that 5 health hacks for reducing inflammation video on my channel. She's here to help. That was 10. See how that was 10? It's only 5. Good. What's next?
5 per person. Just had half a watermelon. Should I wait to eat my fatty meat per Randall cycle?
Yes, for about 72 hours. That's how long it will take to clear those carbs.
Good
Or
stuff.
perhaps you could go and run a marathon several times between now and then.
Come on then.
Don't mind me.
She doesn't have a bed to sit in.
Oh, poor Snoozy. Stuckish Lytton.
Right.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on the success that David Sinclair from Harvard seems to be having? He is mostly plant-based, uses intermittent fasting and a particular supplement stacked with NMN, resveratrol and metformin.
Okay, David Sinclair is a reductionist. He's one of the most extreme reductionists around in science at the moment that I'm aware of and have seen any of their work. He is a person with an ego out of whack with what it is he's actually added to the world, I think. And I'm not saying I'm not one of those myself, by the way. I'm purely commenting as dispassionately as I can about David Sinclair at this time. I don't subscribe to many of the ideas that David Sinclair puts forward, and I think the way in which he communicates with the public about what it is he is doing scientifically, I think is extremely ill-disciplined. I think he makes his work out to be vastly more important and telling than it is. The fact that N = 1, he looks relatively in good shape for his age, does not prove anything. I know for a fact that a mostly plant-based diet is absolutely a contraindication and a bad idea at large for the average person. I don't believe there is a single person in existence who genuinely would do better on a plant-based diet than a species-appropriate diet, because we are all the same species, and our diet, our optimal diet, is hypercarnivore, it seems, based on all evidences that we can find. Fasting is a good tool that can be used for such purposes, absolutely, if correctly done. NMN, I'm on the fence on. I take it myself at this stage because there's no real clear absolute reason I shouldn't do that I've seen, but I'm also not convinced that it absolutely necessarily changes my life hugely either.
You're not taking it now?
Not at the moment, but I have done.
Yes.
Yeah.
But didn't they stop?
They stopped supplying the people that we were getting it from, so we just didn't replace it with another supplier. So I thought, well, here's an opportunity to see how it is if I don't take it, and I don't feel any different. So, whatever. But no, good luck to David and his life and whatever it is he wants to achieve. But I am not impressed by David Sinclair as a scientist, not one jot, not a little bit. Well, I'm impressed that he has been as successful as he has been at publishing, which is the mark of success in the field of being a scientist, wrongly, but that's what it is. He has successfully published many articles. Good. Has he contributed much actual utility and knowledge to the universe? No, I don't believe he has. I hope that's clear.
So,
good.
Do you think dogs get fistulas because of food they eat that is wrong, or genetics?
Both. It's that interaction.
We're moving into dog carnivore.
Yeah, and I'm really not an expert in dog physiology.
Robert says, maybe bacteria in the gut can produce vitamin C. We know they can produce B vitamins.
Good thought, Robert. That's a possibility.
Blah, blah, blah.
Finished.
Yes.
Blah-de-blah, blah, blah.
Here's a question.
Yes, a question.
Could you please explain about the product? Is it made of marine plants, whole or compounds derived from it? How that fit into paradigm that plants are bad for us, especially on a regular basis?
Right. Humans have been deriving their nutrition from almost entirely animal-based sources for at least 4.5 million years. That is a fact. For millennia, humans have also been using plants and plant derivatives, specific ones, for medicinal and or nutraceutical purpose. Absolutely they have been. The main active ingredient in the Cerule products, of the three that I suggest people take, in the Stem Enhance, it is a product derived from a blue-green cyanobacter, which lives in a lake in Oregon. It's not a plant, neither is it an animal. It is a bacteria. And the active ingredient is produced by that bacteria, and that's what the Cerule company puts in the product, that particular ingredient, which has to be treated, activated, filtered and cleaned up in a certain way to make it do what it does. In terms of other things in that, there's also a derivative from another algae, which is a seaweed, as it turns out, also not a plant. Phacoidin is the one I'm talking about. Some people say, oh, that's a plant, it's just a sea plant. Well, okay, fine. Sea plants have not evolved the toxins against terrestrial animals. They've evolved to a different setup. And, in fact, it's not whole phacoidin. It's a derivative which is filtered and cleaned up from phacoidin, which has an effect. It channels and causes proliferation of stem cells. So it supports the activity of the release agent. In the Cyactive, it is a derivative of spirulina, as it turns out. And spirulina is also a cyanobacter, therefore not a plant and not an animal either. It's the blue pigment out of the blue-green from spirulina. Same filtration activation process that makes it do what it does. It's all good. The plasma flow is an enzyme preparation which has some herbal extracts in it at this time. I say at this time because new formulations are coming up, I'm told, soon. There's a range that the company is looking at doing, and I'm allowed to talk about it publicly because they're committed to doing it. It's called Hardcore Carnivore, Cerule. No plant materials. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have the Cerule product, but without all the unnecessary plant materials that they put in the mainstream product. It's going to be cool.
Nice.
Can't wait. Yep.
Right. And someone also asks,
Yes.
how do you take those supplements, with or without food, time of day, etc.?
Yeah, we've already answered that one earlier in the session, but that's fine. We'll answer it again. It doesn't seem to matter. They have instructions on the bottles, which you may choose to follow if you like, but it does not seem to make a difference. I've personally been taking the product about 15 years, and I haven't noticed any differences with food, away from food, whatever.
And regarding Cerule stem cell product, is there any adverse effects to the process involving the enzyme releasing your own stem cells from bone marrow?
No, there's no negative side effect of that we're aware of that's been studied, shown. There are no anecdotal reports of any serious adverse reaction to taking the product, which has been available for about 30 years. So it's pretty, in terms of safety and all of that, there's 30 years of pretty much no one has ever suffered any really serious adverse reaction to it.
It is cereal products, I think it means Cerule.
Cerule, yeah.
Interact with any medications. Should you separate the doses by time? I see the bottle says take with food.
Right. The only known interaction with Cerule products and pharmacological things is in that Stem Enhance Ultra contains quite a bit of vitamin K, and as such, it does counteract the effects of blood thinners. You need to be aware of that and tell your physician that you're on Cerule products and that they do have some vitamin K in them and that they need to adjust your blood thinners accordingly. Pretty much. That's about it. No other interactions that we're aware of at all.
You have one good follower.
I have many good followers.
Listen to Pim first, then Ted, and then Bart.
No, that's not a good follower. Goodness gracious. Report to Ted later for administrative correction. And you, behave yourself.
Does he talk with his backhead?
His backhead.
Backhead?
Yes.
What's best for recovering from HIIT sports like
we've had that.
boxing?
Don't ask the question more than once if you did.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of Dr. Ben Bickman then?
I think he's pretty right on most things. But I think he needs to close the end gap, the last little bit of knowledge that he hasn't yet got to around insulin and insulin resistance. He might see it differently, probably would.
So
he's welcome to debate me or discuss it with me.
This was a question that wasn't that long ago. Question was, the size of the glycated red blood cells being bigger, moving through smaller vessels cause damage?
Oh, look, it's not impossible in terms of causing physical damage. I don't think that's the major cause of heart disease, however, because heart disease lesions occur in the larger of the vessels, not the smaller ones. So I'd say not.
Yeah. But also, what is a normal HbA1c for a carnivore? It's probably still on the lower end compared to the general population. So is it actually a problem?
You say that, but I'm starting to get more and more convinced that A1Cs are actually on carnivores of multiple decade timeframes, that their A1Cs are higher.
How high?
5.2, some of them.
Yeah, but is that going to be a problem?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't.
I mean, if we're talking 6.5, 7.
Well, yeah, maybe then, but still, the reason they tell people that eat a standard diet and don't control their blood glucose fluctuation, the reason they tell them that 5.6 is a problem is not because 5.6 is a problem. It's because to get a 5.6 average, you have to have high peaks and low troughs on that diet, and it's the high peaks that are the problem, which we are detecting using an average of 5.6, which is not in and of itself a problem. Hope that makes sense.
I think the time is here.
The time has come.
My stomach is growling as fuck and I'm really hungry. So we are over time. We've been going for 95 minutes.
Good.
So that was that.
Good. Thank you for your attendance at this Q&A session. Staff, I hope you've learned a lot. Thank you, Ted, for your appearance, wherever you might have been during the show. I don't know. Thank you for everybody that super chatted. Appreciate that very much. Thank you, Pim, for soldering on. The show must go on despite having a headache today and not feeling like really doing it. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. Thank you to Professors Snoozy and Fluffy. Fluffy for remaining asleep the entire show under the desk and not causing a problem.
Very good.
Snoozy for her usual snooziness. We'll see you next week for more Q&A, I should think. And during the week, there'll be more interviews, more Who's Wrong on the interwebs and stuff happening. That'll be good. But of course, all that remains is the singing of the national anthem, which indicates to you what it is you should have for breakfast. And of course, that is steak and eggs and eggs and steak. That's what you should have for your breakfast. Delicious. Eggs and steak and eggs. Just making sure you heard. Push the button then. Can't get the help, staff.
I got it.
Ah!